What a showcase in Rio de Janeiro for UFC Fight Night. In the main event, Charles Oliveira takes down Mateusz Gamrot in just 2 rounds by rear submission in his home country of Brazil. An incredible performance by him. You see all the euphoria, all the joy spreading throughout the arena as he made quick work of Gamrot, and he is standing on top. And with that, we welcome in CBS Sports combat analyst Brian Campbell in BC. You felt this would be a competitive fight, that it would go the full 5 rounds. I thought it would be too, but instead, Charles Oliveira says there will be none of that. Quick work to show out for his home country. How did he pull this off in your eyes?
I mean, he did it as much with that great technique on the ground, being the greatest submission artist in UFC history, as he did with the emotion of being back in front of a live Brazilian crowd for the first time since 2019 and extending his record on Brazil soil to 18-0 as a professional. Look, this fight, betting-wise, late replacement was basically a virtual pick-em come fight night, but there was that feeling in the air with Oliveira, who turns 36 in just a few weeks, who has been through the wars, and who is just 4 months removed from being knocked out cold in a title fight against Ilia Topuria, that maybe we would see him on the beginning of that slide, a hard slide. Boy, were the rumors of his demise greatly exaggerated here, because he was in there against a streaking Mateusz Gamrot who had won 4 of 5, was in shape waiting for a fight of this magnitude, took it, came down to Brazil with no fear. But it was Gamrot's inability to match Oliveira on the ground that opened up the door for Oliveira to do what he does best: out-grapple you, take your back, and then make you tap out. You want to talk about a legend, one of the greatest fighters in UFC history? Let's just say this about that. Most finishes, most submissions in UFC history, and now with the win tonight, moves into a second-place tie for the most victories inside the octagon with 24. He may be turning 36 soon. He ain't done yet, though.
Oh, yeah, he looks fresh as ever, right? And you mentioned about Mateusz Gamrot, his inability, right, to even last the 5 full rounds. How much do you think the fact that he was a late replacement played into the way he showed up against Oliveira?
I actually don't in this instance, and that's rare that you would say that when a fighter falls out. Rafael Fiziev, the original opponent for Oliveira, hurt his knee, and that opened the door for Gamrot. But Gamrot's in a different space. He lives literally in a dorm room above the American top team gym in South Florida, is separated from his wife and kids in Poland, waiting, like I mentioned, for a breakthrough opportunity to crack the top 5 in this division and get that long-awaited title shot. So in a lot of ways, from the betting public to the MMA media and fans who beloved Charles Oliveira, just like the Brazilian fans do. But you had to believe in the momentum of Gamrot coming in. Ultimately, though, we know that Gamrot's a great wrestler. It was his confidence on the ground that he could match Oliveira's submission game by taking him down and not being afraid to go into the lion's den that ultimately hurt him. Look, if you're going to fight Oliveira in his backyard of Rio with a crowd like that, the disadvantages will be there. Unfortunately for Gamrot, he was outstruck on the feet for as much as we saw this fight against Oliveira was more competitive in round 2. But anytime this fight went to the ground, whether he took Oliveira down or whether Oliveira took him down and quickly took his back, which is the sequence that led up to the finish, Gamrot found out the hard way. Even if you're an accomplished wrestler, when you're going against a finisher like Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira, who changed his nickname subtly this week to the Predator, right? You know what happens. He finds a way to end the fight. He creates chaos around him. He thrives in that chaos. And I thought tonight was going to be about what all the MMA media asked Oliveira this week. If you lose, could that be the end of your career? He was disappointed with that line of questioning, and now we see exactly why.
Yeah, so from end of the career, like, yo, I just took this man down in 2 rounds, and it wasn't even close. What is next? Excuse me, for Charles Oliveira, man?
This is going to elevate him to a massive fight. He was ranked number 4 in the division coming in, just 4 months removed, like we mentioned, from losing that vacant title fight against Ilia Topuria. Right now, unfortunately for Oliveira, the title picture is kind of log-jammed. We expect Topuria to come back in early 2026, possibly against Justin Gaethje. You've got number 1 contender fights with Sarukian against Hooker, rumors possibly of Paddy Pimblett getting a big fight. But if you listen to Oliveira's comments after the fight closely, he wants not just a big fight, he wants one of those marquee BMF title fights. We've heard him call out Conor McGregor for the White House in the past, but tonight he mentioned that name, Max Holloway, the former featherweight champion, the current BMF champion, who is number 3 in the lightweight rankings at this moment. That is a fight that not only would satisfy the all-action BMF part of it, it would not only be a rematch of a fight years ago when they were both featherweights, it could also produce potentially the next lightweight title challenger. Maybe it'll be a little bit of a longer road for Joe Bronx to get back to the top because he just lost to the current champion Topuria. But what he proved tonight against Gamrot is that if they need him and they make that call, he's going to show up, and he is still a threat to win the championship any given night.
An incredible showcase for Mr. Charles Oliveira. On the other side, right, for Mateusz Gamrot, what is next for him? How does he rebound from this loss?
He's not out of the title picture. He was ranked 8th coming in at 34 years old, but on the streak he was on, having won 4 or 5, the only loss being a split decision 2 fights ago there to Dan Hooker, you wondered if this was his moment. Yes, it came on short notice, but the confidence, the feeling like everything he's done in his career built up to this moment, it's certainly going to be devastating. But let's not forget, he's beaten many names in this top 10, including Arman Tsarukyan, who is looking to become the next title challenger if he can get past Dan Hooker. Look for Gamrot to bounce back against a top 10 foe. He's not out of the title picture, but he's going to have to do a little bit rebuilding because every aspect of this fight, he was on the wrong side, business end here against Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira making it clear how he's still got so much juice in the tank. And BC, we always appreciate your entertaining insight, man. And here's a look at UFC 321 main card coming up October 25th. Tom Aspinall against Gane in the heavyweight title bout. So many excellent matchups between these fighters, and you better believe they will deliver the entertainment.